You're so interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous.
With your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
Liverpool 4, Bournemouth 2. What an opening night to the Premier League season. Handballs, bad VAR decisions, fantastic goals, amazing atmospheres, some dodgy defending, and much, much more. Make sure the like button has been hit. Make sure you are subscribing. Welcome back to the Premier League. Let's go. What an opening night. What an opening night indeed. So much to unpack, so much to go through, loads to break down as well. We're going to be taking your calls. We're going to be bringing our panel on later in the show. If you're watching the playback, then it'll be timestamped for you. So you can go to the sections that you want to listen to, that you want to go through. But wow, genuinely, wow. What an opening night we just witnessed. The good, the bad, and the ugly of Liverpool right now. Definitely some jeopardy there that I'm sure their rivals, which I am one, but I am playing host tonight. So there's an element of just me being out there, but I'm going to be calling some of those bits and pieces out. Let me know where you watched it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions right now. I can see all your comments coming through tonight. But I did want to start, before we get into the football, I wanted to speak about a really serious element of tonight's game, and I wanted to address that right before we get into the football and all of that. And that was the disgraceful racial abuse that Semenyo suffered in the first half. The game was already called to a stop for 3 or 4 minutes. It has now been reported that the man who perpetrated this was removed from the stadium, very likely to suffer a lifetime ban, which is the correct and right approach from Liverpool Football Club. And I'm very glad to see that they took it seriously, that they've taken action, because that is absolutely hideous and horrendous, and takes away from the beautiful game that we love, that is for everybody, no matter your skin color, your race, your religion, your sexual orientation, or the nation of which you live in. So well done to Liverpool Football Club for reacting so quickly, the protocol being followed, the removal of the man. The discipline will then follow, because the players deserve that. The fans all around the world deserve that. And I wanted to take a few minutes to address that. Sky Sports as well, I give them a lot of stick, but well done to them for actually talking about it and addressing it as well. I think that was very, very important, because that often gets ignored. So I thought I just wanted to spend a few moments at the beginning of the video addressing that. So well done to everybody involved for the swift and appropriate action that was taken, because it's a horrible. I don't know if that's horrible. We all know that it's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. Now, in terms of the game, look, it's one of those difficult ones to kind of break down in some respects and in some ways. But I want to make sure I say this correctly. Liverpool are serious. Liverpool are dangerous. Liverpool tonight showed why they are favourites. That doesn't come without some holes in their game. That doesn't come without some flaws in the way they play. And I think that is beautiful. That there is some jeopardy, that there are some holes. There are a few problems that can be exploited. We saw that. The game in itself, look, Liverpool were the better team. They had more of the possession. They had the higher XG. They had double the amount of shots. They had 3 times the amount of shots on target. They completed more passes, more accurate passes. Every single element of that game, statistically or on the eye test, Liverpool were the most dominant side. I want to say at the beginning, Bournemouth tonight, they did themselves proud. They've lost a lot of their top players, one of which went to Liverpool. But they really equipped themselves well. They came out tonight. They gave it their all. They defended well in large parts. They were dangerous on the counter-attack. And that's where Liverpool's vulnerabilities lie. very early in the game, both Semenyo and Tavernier should have scored. Bournemouth really should have been 2-0 up in this game before Hugo Ekitike's opening goal. They were very good at that. They were obviously 2-0 down in the game as well, and we'll get onto Liverpool's side of that in terms of their goals, and came back brilliantly. Again, those counter-attacks, those transitions are a little bit of kryptonite to Liverpool right now, especially with Konate in the team. He looked kind of lost. He didn't look like he knew what it was that he was sort of meant to be doing for large parts of that game, which I think will concern a lot of Liverpool fans, especially that second goal. He's closing down, he's pulling away, he's closing down, he's pulling away. The way he was meandering, he looked like the River Thames. It was crazy. So there is that vulnerability there. But we also saw the brilliance of Liverpool shine through as well. We also saw the quality of Liverpool shine through tonight. And Hugo Ekitike is the first man that I want to speak about. I want to speak on him because Ekitike, he's starting fast for Liverpool. And the speed of which he's starting, okay, the quality that he is demonstrating from the off straight away, that for me is a massive worry. That for me is a very, very big concern. You know, this man tonight, when you actually break it down and look at it, you watch him play, he drops deep and he gets involved in the attack. He helps create chances and he's very clinical. There was a lot of people that were questioning whether or not he would be able to hack it in the Premier League, whether or not there would be output that wasn't always there when he was in Germany. But tonight, he got a goal and he got an assist. His shooting accuracy was brilliant. I think he created 2 chances in the game. He had the highest rate of expected goals on the football pitch, especially from a Liverpool perspective. But he was a danger. Then you look at the link-up play, absolutely brilliant. Hugo Ekitike has started life with Liverpool and in the Premier League brilliantly. And I'll tell you why it's a danger, and I'll tell you why it's a worry, and I'll tell you why it should be a concern. What I was hoping would happen as a rival of Liverpool, what I was hoping would happen is he'd come in, not score game week 1, not score game week 2, have a few bad performances, the fans would get on at him a little bit, the media pressure, the social media pressure would start, the 007 talk would happen, and maybe the young man wouldn't deliver. But it's 2 goals in 2 games, 3 GA in 2 games, but it's the overarching performance, as I already mentioned. Now, whether you're someone that likes statistics, whether you're someone that just uses the eye test, or if you're like most of us, you look at the 2 things combined, he had absolutely everything today. Shooting accuracy was high. There was goals, decent dribbling. He was only dispossessed. This was a really important part. Only dispossessed of possession tonight 3 times. So not just dispossessed. So lost the possession. His hold-up play was good. And I know they went on to score 2 more goals, Liverpool. And I know Chiesa scored the winner. But I felt when they took him off, they lost a little bit of their shape, Liverpool. And when it went to 2-2, Bournemouth had a period of about 5-6 minutes where they looked like they were going to get a third. And then they just sat back. They sort of did what Spurs did in the Super Cup, where if they would have carried on trying to land a blow on Liverpool, it could have been different because Liverpool had lost their shape when Hugo Ekitike came off. But as I say, overall, I felt that what a debut, what a home debut, a very emotional night for Liverpool Football Club as well. And I thought that he personally was fantastic. I also want to shout out Cody Gakpo as well, because all summer it's been, the talk has sort of been where's Ekitike going to play? Where's Isak going to play? All talk about Wirtz. And suddenly Cody Gakpo was like an afterthought, but he created loads of chances tonight. He scored a fantastic goal, burying it very early in the second half into the bottom corner. He was a constant threat all night. And you could see for him when he scored, it was a very emotional night for him as well, along with everyone in the Liverpool community. But overall, it was just a phenomenal, in my opinion, an absolutely phenomenal performance from him on that left-hand side. And more's to come from Liverpool in this transfer window. If it isn't Alexander Isak, it might be a winger. But Cody Gakpo, I think, at 26 years of age, he looks absolutely at home at Liverpool, and he's going to fly. You can't go any further without talking about Mo Salah as well. And Mo Salah was such an interesting one tonight because I don't think Mo Salah had a particularly great game, but he still comes up and just adds that little bit of sort of cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake right at the end. And you know he's got that in, and that's 10 opening day goals now in the Premier League. I think he goes joint with Andy Cole for that record. And if he does it next year, then he's going to surpass him. There's no doubt. He's closing in on Wayne Rooney's goal scoring record as well. The man is a phenom. The man is in the GOAT conversation. Of course, Chiesa as well deserves a shout out, because Chiesa, look, I want to make sure I say this in the right way. He's not had a great time at Liverpool. He came on tonight, and the commentator did him dirty over here in the UK, said he mishit his shot. He didn't. That shot was meant in the way in which he did it. He just took it was a slight connection because he had to guide it through a crowded space. He might still leave by the end of this transfer window if you read the reports that are out there, but he'll be chuffed. He'll be over the moon. He'll be absolutely blown away with his performance tonight, and he adds something. And if Liverpool do go on to win the league title this year again, which many people think they will, he'll be an integral part of that. But I looked at it tonight, and look, I was taking notes throughout the course of the game, which is what I do. And I will say this, Liverpool are going to be able to score goals for fun this year. They will score goals for fun. They could break the goal scoring record in the Premier League, especially when Alexander Isak joins. They definitely need to add more, though. The one thing I did think today is their bench did. I know Chiesa comes on and scores, but let's all be real. We know he isn't going to do that every single week. I can see why Isak is wanted by Arne Slot. They've got some good youngsters on the bench, but the bench is looking a little bit thin now that the Diaz's and the Darwin Núñez's have gone. And of course, Harvey Elliott is probably going to leave as well. So you can definitely see that happening. And some defensive reinforcements needed as well, because I thought as a unit, they were out of sync tonight. And I also thought that Konate himself had a really, really poor game. And there is talk today of a new contract. And it might be one of those things that Liverpool need to address. And I don't want to be hyperbolic. I don't want to throw out a polarizing opinion here, because it's one game. But if that's anything to do with his mind not knowing where he wants to be, maybe cash in on him now, because Real Madrid would buy him now. Maybe they go, right, you know what? We've got Leone coming in. We've got Gahey coming in. If his mind isn't right, if we're going to have more performances like that this season, move him on. Because that was the one area for Liverpool that, by the way, I hope you don't fix for two reasons. One, I'm a Man United fan. I don't want you to win the league. I will praise you when you're my favourites, but I don't want you to be. The second element why I don't want it to get better is because it makes Liverpool games more exciting from a neutral standpoint, that they are gettable, that teams can break you down, that teams can make things dangerous. They can come back and potentially win these matches. But look, as I say, Liverpool, they did deserve their win today. There's no doubt about it. You've demonstrated again, to me, why you're the favourite still. I believe you'll become a better footballing side. If you look at Wirtz tonight, I actually tweeted something that got a lot of stick during the game, which I didn't understand why. He's brilliant on the ball. Forget that, Terry, he lost loads of ground jewels today. Yeah, he's a little bit of baptism under fire with the strength and the speed and the power that is needed in the Premier League. And he sort of suffered a little bit tonight in relation to that. And I get why. But this man covered so much ground tonight. Honestly, so much ground tonight. Covered the majority. He was the best runner in the team. He ran the most. He ran the most consistently. He covered so much distance. He had the most sprints in the Liverpool side as well. Played more balls into the final third than any other player on the pitch as well. And yes, he gave the ball away. Yes, you can go and look at the stats now. And I didn't actually check them. If I go and click on the stats now, you'll probably find that he gave the ball away. Let's go and have a look here. I'm going to say 15 to 20 times tonight. That's my guess. 19 times. But that's because he's trying things. That's because he's trying to influence the game. I'm not going to have a go at him for that. I'm really, really not. But he did create 3 chances. And that's what happens. Now, he'll have better games in this. I think he'll improve on this. I think he'll become a better player than what we saw and what we witnessed tonight. I really do think he will become a better player than we saw. I think the physical side, in terms of his running and everything else, great. When it comes to his duels, he got better in the second half. He started to win them. The first half, I think he attempted 5 duels and he only won, I think, 1 of them. Second half, a lot better. But that's about him getting up to pace with the league. And not everybody can start as well. Not everybody can start as strongly as you've seen from Ekitike. The same as Kirkes. Looked a little bit overexcited, a little bit overexuberant. wanting to impress, and he's from the Premier League, these guys will settle, which is why I wouldn't make too many conclusions about some of the poorer performances tonight. They've got to have time to gel together, but the work rate is there, the togetherness is there, and this is a very, very dangerous Liverpool team indeed. But look, I want your thoughts. I want your opinions. Make sure that like button has been hit if you haven't done it already. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel, and I can't wait to read back through all your comments. Now, I want to go to some of your super chats that have come through. By the way, thank you to everyone who's here tonight. It means a great deal to me that you guys, so many have shown up on the show. We're going to be taking Kojo's joining us in a minute. We're going to be taking getting the panel on. We're going to share a link if anybody wants to phone in tonight and have their say as well. But let's go to some of these super chats that have come through on the show this evening. That was from last. That's a weird time. Why does it say that? Okay. I'm just trying to get the ones that are from tonight because I've got some from yesterday. This is very confusing. It's not Wirtz, it's Kai Havertz, Ekitike better. Look, I wouldn't make any overarching statements about him right now. Banter away if that's what you're doing. That is all well and good. But for me, I didn't think Wirtz was awful tonight. I think he grew into the game. He created 3 chances. His work rate was impeccable. And that's really key. He didn't shy away from it. He didn't go, oh, it's not working, so I'm just going to skulk and hide from the ball. He still wanted to get involved. That attitude will see him come good. How fast will the media move to bury the racism in order to protect the golden child Liverpool? Well, look, Liverpool Football Club are not responsible for what individuals do. Liverpool Football Club are responsible for how they react to it. They remove the individual. I'm sure he's going to receive a ban. But Liverpool Football Club, the players and the other fans, are not accountable for what some individual person in the crowd does. And I'm not about sort of unilateral, monolithic style blame. You know, I'm an Englishman and my country has done some awful things around this world in history. Some great things too, but some awful things. I'm not accountable for those awful things that happened. So I just live that way. And, you know, every other Liverpool fan in the ground tonight, as far as we're aware, didn't do that. He was removed. He was outed. So I'm not going to turn, and Sky Sports addressed it live on the air as well, my friend. They did. We look so weak with Endo and Robbo again. I did think that when they brought Kirkes off and they brought Robertson on, he got stripped. I mean, I know Semenyo he's big and he's strong and he's pacey, technically very good as well. But he has that P&P element that's so key in the Premier League now, and he absolutely stripped Robbo. Absolutely stripped him. Mo in tears at the end with the fans clapping for Jota and Andre. Yeah, very emotional night for Liverpool. It really, really was. It was a bit of a hard watch as well. You know, everyone knows I had a personal connection with Diogo. I didn't know his brother, but yeah, a beautiful night from that perspective. Absolutely. Yashi here says the only complaint is that they can. Sorry, only complaint is that tell the team Carlsberg era vibes only work if only 1 or 2 players wear long sleeves, not half the team. Nice to see an actual striker. Yeah, he did a fantastic job tonight. Some of his hold-up play was amazing. Wasn't impressed with Wirtz. Expected better for 100 million. Listen, I agree that wasn't anywhere near his absolute best level. And there's going to be a time to adapt, and not everyone's going to hit the ground running. One mistake may be made tonight by Arne Slot that you could make this argument is that maybe he played too many of the new players to begin with. Jurgen Klopp used to bleed the new players in very slowly. Some players can go straight in. Ekitike's taken it like to a duck to water. Maybe there's an element of, and I know that Gravenberch is out, so it makes it a little bit harder. And Harvey Elliott's probably going to be sold. But with Kirkes, for instance, maybe Robbo does need to start for a few games, and Kirkes has the substitute appearances to ease himself in a little bit. Maybe that's part of it. Thank you, Stefan, for the super chat. He didn't say anything, but thank you. All these comments, Wirtz is overrated. Calm down. Listen, even if you think he is, I'd be holding back right now because that could come back to bite you in the backside later. I wouldn't even be taking that risk. I'm telling you now, I wouldn't be taking that risk at all. I really, really wouldn't be. I wouldn't be taking that risk. If Ekitike is worth 70 million, Wirtz 100 million, how much is Semenyo worth? United beat Bournemouth 4-1 in pre-season with Hoyland up front, by the way. Which is, listen, they got beat 4-2 tonight, right? Let's not ignore the result because it matters tonight more than anything else and stuff. But it is an element that shows you preseason results are not always to be, you can't always take them seriously. But Bournemouth are a good team and they're going to buy a few more players and they still look nice and settled. That system still works. Gehi, Isak, and the winger, we good. ND have options. Good to have options. Omar, you need the options. Bournemouth players slapped the ball, denying a goal scoring opportunity. Free kick for Bournemouth. So much for Liverpool. Listen, 100%, and I've got a graphic ready for this. I mean, I just cannot understand why this wasn't given as a handball. And we're going to be speaking about this with the panel. We're going to be giving, this is one of them, our talking points tonight. You'll see that the match reactions are done a little bit differently this year in terms of having talking points to go through. But this is going to be one of them, the handball. And VAR are criminals. VAR are criminals. And I'll tell you why they're criminals. We all heard what Jamie Carragher said. We all heard Jamie Carragher say, I can hear VAR, because all the commentators that are at the ground can hear VAR. They can't hear the referee on the pitch, but they can hear VAR. VAR said, and I quote Jamie Carragher here, that it wasn't a handball because the ball deflected off of his thigh and onto his arm. They looked at the first handball and they cleared it because the first handball isn't handball because it did deflect off his arm and his arm isn't a natural position for somebody stopping. At half-time, VAR released another statement and said the reason that they didn't intervene is because it wasn't a clear denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. So at half-time, VAR changes its reasoning. But you can't do that because Jamie Carragher could hear you when you were deliberating and they didn't mention Dogso, denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity. They didn't mention it. They changed their reasoning. And I will say this for Liverpool, the same as I've said it for Arsenal, and the same as I've said it for other teams. There is no club where there is a conspiracy to help, no club where there is a conspiracy to damage them. But we have to call these decisions out. It doesn't matter that Liverpool won. It doesn't matter that Arsenal do the excuses. No, stop that petty, immature, tribal nonsense. If we just ignore this tonight, VAR, the PGMOL, yes, you people that have sent me multiple letters to tell me to stop making content about you, who report, even when I use still shots, try and get me shut down for copyright. I am not stopping. I'm not stopping. And any football fan that doesn't call this out, I think you are a disgrace to this sport. I think you're a disgrace to this sport. They've lied to us, caught red-handed. They checked and said no because it deflected off his thigh at halftime. They said they checked it for something else. They've lied. And we know they lied because Jamie Carragher was telling us what they were saying. It was an absolute stonewall handball. You can debate as to whether or not it is denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, but I think it is because Hugo Ekitike controls that and he runs straight through on goal. And by the way, if Saliba's was a red card last year, that one is a red card. The PGMOL have lied. Because Liverpool won tonight, it's not going to be discussed too much. It will be brushed under the carpet by the mainstream media. Fans won't care, but it absolutely, wholeheartedly must be called out and discussed because it was an absolute disgrace on every single level. Every single level. Ekitike, looks like a young Henri. Look, I actually don't think he does look like a young Henri. He looks like, I don't know who I'd say he looks like a young version of. He looks like an out-and-out number 9 who can drop deep, bring others into play, hold the ball up, facilitate, and score goals. I grew up watching dozens of number 9s like this. That actually wasn't Henri. Henri was good at hold-up play. He could do that. But Henri was very different. Henri wasn't your... He was an atypical striker, not typical. I think Hugo Ekitike is the opposite. Squid Wirtz, stinker and hooked. Shaky defense, but a good attacking promise. Welcome back, Brendan Rodgers Ball. You'll see how the season plays out. Listen, I'll be honest with you. If Liverpool's defense is like that consistently all season, they may not win the league. because goals win you games, defense wins you titles. But I think they're going to improve it with purchases and time. It took 13 minutes for a VAR controversy. Yeah, crazy. I couldn't believe they got it wrong. I disagree, Terry. I think it was a 50-50 game. I think Liverpool, in order to win the league, are going to have to win a lot of shootouts because I don't think their defense is that strong. Yeah, look, I don't think it... I get your point. It wasn't a 50-50 game. Statistically and factually, if you look at possession, chances created, goal-scoring opportunities, XG, pass completion, the territories... It was huge. Now, you can argue, you could say, well, they should have scored more. They could have been 2-0 up Bournemouth. You're right. But it was also 2 headers from Hugo Ekitike tonight, where if he actually gets a good connection, one just after his opening goal and one from a corner when they were already 2-0 up, they could have taken the game away from Bournemouth. So I think we've got to be fair. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't sit there certainly and say that this was a complete 50-50 game. But Bournemouth were very good at times. Palmer is way better than Wirtz as a 10. I see. Big claim. Big up, Tell. Delighted to be back watching games. Yeah, me too, Patrick. It was nice. It could have been great if Liverpool dropped points, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Liverpool LFC. I've always thought Chiesa is good. If Newcastle refuse to release their tortured Swedish hostage, he's a good option to keep, in my opinion. All I would say about Chiesa is this. It's the injuries and the availability with this man. And I just don't know. I know he scored tonight, but I always say this to people. Don't allow yourselves to get suckered in by a goal. Don't get suckered in by a goal and go, oh, they're going to turn it round. He'll be a better player now. I don't think he will. I think get your Isak or another alternative and move on would be my advice. One game assess Liverpool fans over their defending. Wonder if they would have the same energy for Arsenal or United on Sunday, whoever loses. Look, I think Man United are in a very different situation. Plus, Liverpool have just won the league, so the criticism will be different. You're not going to get complete equal criticism and breakdowns, and why should you? Because circumstances are different. But I heard the commentators talk about it. I heard the halftime pundits talk about it. It's trending all over socials. Liverpool's, and it's one of our talking points. The 3 talking points we're going through with the guys now, because we're not going to do it like other seasons on here for match reactions where everyone just gets to do their own 10-minute match review. Because honestly, it's what every other channel does, and it's fucking boring. What we're going to go through is we're talking about the handball. We're talking about Hugo Ekitike's impact. We are talking about Liverpool's defensive issues tonight as well. They're the 3 main talking points, and off that, other situation. We're going to talk Wirtz as well, and the other debutants on the field of play. They're the talking points we're going through, which are the main talking points. So it won't be getting ignored. That's for sure. Thank God football's back. Hugo looks like an old school 9. I agree, D-Town, 100%. Wirtz struggled but grew into the game, so he'll get better. Defense was shocking. But that's expected with half of it new. Well, that was the one thing. This is why, as well, I'm not looking at this again. They're screwed all season. The one thing that I said, and I'm be intrigued to see when we get onto the defensive issues, to see what Husam, who's backstage, says about this, is they did change 50% of it. And yes, the core is still there, but you could see still that with 4 new players on the pitch, there wasn't quite the connections in the relationship. Having no Gravenberch is an issue. And by the way, we know City are not as good without Rodri, right? We know Chelsea won't be as good without Caicedo, typically speaking. So that's absolutely fair. But yeah, it takes a little bit of time for new players to settle. And what I'm not going to do is, just because Liverpool have spent money, is start pretending important elements of football don't exist. And you can't just go, oh, well, Liverpool don't get any grace time for their new players to settle, but yet my club does get. No, I can't do that. I find that kind of thing a bit of Billy BS, if I'm being honest with you. Listen, people, if you haven't done so yet, get that like button hit. One of our biggest Liverpool streams in many, many years. So thank you all for being here. I know you're not all Liverpool fans watching. I know there's rivals on as well. And we've got rivals back on the panel on the Football Terrace as well, which I'm very, very happy about indeed. Where I was waiting for Rack. I'm waiting for one more person because I like symmetry, but we'll bring the guys in, I think, in just a moment. Barry, big up yourself, my friend, and let me know where you're all watching from around the world as well. I always like to know where people are tuning in from and where people are watching from. But we've got Lou, we've got Kojo, we've got Don Husam to come on and join us in a few moments' time. But I'm psyched for the Prem now. I don't know about you. I'm so psyched. I'm so psyched about the Premier League. I really, really am. It's going to be amazing. Let me just change the overlay slightly. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to remove the player stats and have all the other ones up on there. I'm going to remove the scores in a minute so that I can move my camera over and get everybody on. A super chat just came through here that says, and I quote, fair point, but what you said about Henry is similarly to Ekitike, what Ekitike did today. Yeah, look, Ekitike can dribble. So there are those elements, and he can play out on the left-hand side. But Ekitike, for me, doesn't dribble like a winger. He dribbles like a striker, where Thierry Henry could hold the ball up like a striker, could score like a striker, but could also dribble and play like a old-fashioned winger. He had the two things down. You wouldn't, if you were an alien that came down from space and watched him out wide, and then another alien came down and watched him play centrally, you wouldn't know what type of play. Like you'd go, hang on, I saw him play the other day, and he was a winger. Now he's not. Massively different. I missed your super chat, Birdo, did I? Oh, I'm very sorry if I missed it. Let me go back and see. I'm very sorry. I don't ever mean to do that, but sometimes. Oh, hang on. Gravenberg is our most important midfield player, 100%. Terry is what Omar said. Liverpool celebrating like they won the league in the final minutes. This is depleted against his depleted Bournemouth team. Cringe. Act like a big club. I sense the sarcasm. I sense the sarcasm there, my friend. A lot of talk about Chelsea's defense. Liverpool's looks so open. This is true, mate. I can't see your super chat. It's literally not here. The system hasn't brought it up to me. I'm so sorry. It hasn't come up on my screen, and I have a screen that has all the super chats on. It's not there, and if it isn't there, genuinely, if it ain't there, I can't read it. Let me go back. Yeah, it's not. Oh, hang on. There's one from earlier. It didn't show up on my screen, but I found it on a different screen here where you said, sorry, my man. Apologies for Bournemouth fans. That is not who Liverpool fans are. You'll never walk alone. Look, again, I don't think Liverpool fans need to apologize to all the Bournemouth fans. You didn't do it. What you should just be, do you know what I'm saying? You should just be condemning the individual that did it. Like, I think we need to bring back like individual accountability in this world. You know, I remember when I was younger, everyone knows I was married to an Irish lady. And my first few visits, some of the older heads like in her family were like, so what do you and your family think of Irish people? I was like, I don't know how to answer that question. I said, I just treat you like I treat everybody else. I thought, what about the past and the history? I said, look, I understand it from both sides. Don't agree with a lot of, the things my country did. But I also don't look at you as an Irish person and think you're the same as someone who's committed a horrific act. I said, the same as I hope you don't look at me as someone who was responsible for the nasty things my country did. I mean, it was a really nice conversation. It was a party. I was like, it's a bit morbid for a party, peeps. And that's just how I've always been. So I never hold a whole group of people accountable for what one individual does, as best I can. Sometimes when you're angry, you say things you don't mean. But yeah, no, I don't think I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't think you have to do that personally. A fantastic channel, by the way. Credit to you and the team. Thank you, Stefan. I appreciate that a lot. And Carl here says, I hope Man United beat Arsenal 4-2 on Sunday. Oh, mate, I hope Sesko starts as well as Hugo Ekitike has. I can't lie. That would be amazing. Right, time for the panel now. We've got Staffy, we've got Husam, we've got the lovely Lou, we've got the wonderful Kojo as well. Let's get everyone ready. But now what I've got to do, right, because there isn't one button that does this. I've got to press multiple buttons. So I'm going to remove the scoreboard like that. I'm going to hit this button like this. So it covers this up. And then I'm going to add everybody in. So, there we go. Neat and tidy, looking slick. I'm going to go to Dom Husam first of all, because it was your team. A really important win tonight. Hugo Ekitike picking up man of the match. You must be thoroughly chuffed with your new striker's first performance in a Liverpool shirt.
Brother, first of all, I needed a break a little bit just to breathe. Like, we just fucking love drama. You just know Liverpool first game is just going to be dramatic. Ekitike was unbelievable. I still remember from when we signed him, I spoke about the fundamentals of football, and everyone was like, what do you mean fundamentals of football? players who are fundamentally sound can improve their finishing. Let's not forget, Bergkamp in Italy was called Donkey of the Week. Dennis Bergkamp, one of the greatest footballers ever. But because he's fundamentally sound, he managed to work on stuff like this. And with us, bro, like watching Ekitike, as soon as I'm like, bro, we have a striker with a good first touch. We have a striker with a good link-up play. We have a striker that can actually hold up the ball. Instead of all this Captain Chaos bullshit, thank God he became a Liverpool player. And it's just so refreshing to actually watch a football player that can play the sport properly instead of this whole pace and power athleticism stuff. So, look, he starts off the season 1 goal, 1 assist. It's important to get numbers as well as performing well for a striker, and he's done that already. First game already, impact on both ends. I actually thought all our forwards played well, to be honest with you. I don't think any forward played badly. I thought all 4 of them, including Chiesa when he came on, all 4 of them had a great game. I heard what you said about the defensive stuff. I know you didn't ask me that question, but I don't believe necessarily it was one individual's fault.
Bro, we'll get into the defensive. We'll come on to that as a topic.
Okay, so you want to just talk about the forward line?
Yeah, so I was going to speak about like, what you thought of Ekitike, you know, what he's going to bring to your team, etc. Like just in terms of his performance.
Yeah, I think Ekitike is the type of he's going to miss chances like the one he scored today. He's just going to this season, but even if he has a bad game in terms of finishing, because he's fundamentally sound, the likes of Mo will benefit. The likes of Gakpo will benefit because he's the type of player who could drop deep, create chances for both the wingers. So, like, I think his technical ability and his creativity will help us. And you could tell with the second goal, like, he just held up the ball really well, laid it off to Gakpo, and Gakpo scored. Like, so these are the basic things. The words of Jose Mourinho is the basics of football. These are the basics of football that really matter. And I actually thought he was very composed, like maybe any other striker first game at Anfield and stuff. You know, you're a little bit shitting yourself, but he actually finished it really well. And I'm very happy to see him in a Liverpool shirt. That's why I wanted him from the start of the summer. So, yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, I know, Staffy, you're a massive advocate of Hugo Ekitike. And, you know, one of the things I remember there was debates about when United were linked to him, people saying, yeah, but he's more of a facilitator. He's not a goal scorer. And I know you said this, and I know I said this. It's like, well, you ain't watched him play because there are goals in there. He was just being used differently at Frankfurt, but he was sensational in his Premier League debut tonight.
Yeah, like every goal he scored 1 goal, but the first goal and the assist, I saw him get that, and I got happy for him, but then I also cried because that could have been me. That should have been me. I wanted that. I needed that, but I didn't get that. And United fans told me he's not good enough. That's why I don't trust United fans. They never lead me anywhere good. But no, impressive debut for Ekitike. Obviously, scored in the first game in the Community Shield. The people said, oh, it's just a Community Shield. Comes on today. I think he was the best attacker clearly in the first half, and gets the assist. And I know as simple as the assist would look, people are going to be like, oh, it's just like a simple 3-yard pass or whatever. It's the idea that he can comfortably drift wide, link up the winger, and then drop into the box where he can lay off the ball like that. Not a lot of strikers are comfortable even going wide to begin with, because if you rewind the whole goal, he's the one that had the ball over there until Gakpo came to him and they did that little link up. I think he's been by far those 2 games that they played, he's been by far the best attacker they have, in my opinion, between him, Salah, and Gakpo. And I mean, listen, I have a little cheeky bet, you know, not a bet, but like more of like a told you so by the end of the season, that I think he's going to be one of the best strikers, and we might look at him as one of the best signings. And I'm not going to lie, I don't even think they need Isak. I mean, I know they want Isak, but I don't think they need him. And he's proven that. But absolutely outstanding performance, in my opinion. From all the debutants, he had the best debut.
Yeah, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt. And Coach Joe, I know you have, thoughts on Liverpool that we'll get into when it comes to that. But Hugo Ekitike tonight, under massive pressure. He's the new number 9. His performance sort of, warranted the money. What would your breakdown of his display tonight?
You know what? It hurts me to even talk good about Liverpool, but you got to be fair as a rival fan. What I will say is, watching Ekitike was as a player, he's definitely a kind of player that loves the link-up play, and I think he's perfect for Liverpool, right? Because I think they've been playing that false 9 kind of position for a long time at Liverpool, and to have him there, someone who can not only do the link-up play, someone who can dribble. and someone who actually holds up the ball quite well. He played excellently. There was a couple of times, we said in the group chat as well, a couple of times where he just peels off that last defender just to open up a bit more space, get that ball into a channel, and it just allows the other Liverpool players to come in, right? So first game for them in the Premier League, amazing performance, if I'm going to be honest with you. Now, lucky with the bounce and the goal, but listen, in football, you make your luck. You know what I'm saying, Chief? He doesn't dribble that defender, all right? The ball doesn't bounce up like that, right? So cool finish as well. So for me personally, he had a great game, and he's a great addition to the Liverpool team. Do they need Isak? I don't think it's a question of need. I think it's a beautiful addition. But watching Ekitike was nice to see. He's going to be a dangerous addition, just because also a lot of players get drawn to him, which opens up Salah. Like the whole game, every ball was going towards Ekitike and on the left-hand side, Gakpo, but that just left so much space for Salah at times. And Salah's touch as well. I know we're not talking about him, but Salah's touch was amazing at points and sometimes in this game, man. Like if he had just been able to just that last little thing, he would have been even more dangerous that game. So I don't want to glaze him too much, but Ekitike is looking like a serious contender. So
he's gonna have a lot of good games that he's not gonna score in. By the way, like this is the closest they had to Firmino, if I'm being honest, because Firmino had a lot of good games where he didn't score, and no one ever complained about him. Today was a pure performance that, when you look at it, if he didn't get that goal, you still wouldn't say he was playing bad. He was doing everything. His hold up play was good. His link up play was good. As I said, being comfortable going wide. Obviously, gets the goal, gets the assist. There's really nothing to complain about. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't really need Isak. You want Isak. And you said that, Kojo. Like, I was going to tell you, like, you need a Ferrari when you already have a Lamborghini and you have a Maybach and you have whatever. I mean, you don't need it, but sure, you want to add it to that collection you already have. And that's what it's coming down to right now with Liverpool.
Habibi, the rich get richer.
It's true. This is true to life, honestly.
Hey, I've got 5 supercars. Let's make them 6. Fuck it. Why not?
One of the supercars was stinky today. I can't lie.
Hey, stinky with a goal is something I take every week. Let's go. If he stinks and scores 30 goals, let him stink every week.
I will say,
Semenyo, is he on the agenda?
I hear that, but I'm going to go to Lou for a second as well. I mean, a great debutant. There's a few other strikers this weekend making their debuts. Where we'll be hoping that one of them is as good at the very least as Ekitike. We're hoping the other one has maybe a little bit more of a Kirkes performance in relation to that. But Liverpool as a front line overall, so we are touching on Ekitike, but as a front line overall, they look a problem for everybody else this year, Lou.
They do. They were actually sickeningly very good. I was very excited in the group chat before, just that football was back. I was like buzzing, we have football, blah, blah. I didn't care it was Liverpool, it's going to be fine. I'm going to enjoy it because we've missed football. And then, it started, it was going well. And then the goals started going and I was like, oh, I didn't miss this bit. Where Liverpool were just winning games all the time. Can we skip this bit? But no, they were really, really, really good. And in terms of Ekitike, like fitting in with the others, he doesn't look like he's just new. They're working so well together. They're linking up so well together. The communication is very, very clearly there. Because, I think it was Kojo said earlier about the little pass, the assist. That doesn't happen by accident. You have to know where the other person is and is going to be. That's like, it needs to be fast. You can't be like, looking, where are they? Or you missed the opportunity. He knew where he was going to be. They've very, very clearly worked very closely on their communication where they expect the other person to be, so it doesn't have it just was very, very fluid, which is obviously the kind of football you want to be watching, preferably not from your rivals though. I would prefer if that's, as you say, Terry, the kind of fluidity we're going to see on Sunday from one of our new strikers. But yeah, it was really nice football, which sickens me to say about Liverpool, but it was really enjoyable to watch. Unfortunately,
it was. Before we move on to the defensive areas, Husam, a lot of people are going in tonight on Florian Wirtz, saying how bad his performance was, ripping into him. Do you think it's fair to criticize? Is he getting fair criticism, or do you think this is rivals going over the top early on with the way he played?
Of course, his rivals are going over the top. It's just one game. It's his first game in the English Premier League. I mean, I don't expect someone. Not everyone's going to join from a new league and hit the ground running. Some people take a little bit of time. Specifically in midfield as well, I feel like it's a bit more difficult because you got to get used to the pace of the game and stuff. So it ain't easy. You ain't going to just... Like, this is not Bundesliga. It's just the truth. Like, people always say Premier League fans are arrogant. Yeah, we are arrogant. because it's the best league in the world. So what? I don't give a shit. We're watching the Bundesliga as like Premier League in slow motion. So like he just needs to get used to like the pace of the game and stuff. I think next week is going to be a massive test as well because it's Newcastle away against that thug midfield. So these are all like just learning experiences for him. If I can't call Newcastle's midfield thug midfield, I can't call anyone thug midfield. That's the thug midfield as it comes. So it's going to be an experience for him. But I don't necessarily think he was bad today. I think the midfielder that let us down was Szoboszlai, actually, because he lost the ball for both goals that we conceded. McAllister was our best midfielder, in my opinion, still.
The second goal was Salah, was not him. Don't blame him.
Staffy, that pass was so slow. You could have traveled from New York to England and caught it. That's how slow that pass was. But Mr. Szoboszlai decided to flip his hair like this, and then he ended up.
I think there's a Szoboszlai bullying thing that's going on right now because you guys want to sacrifice. You want to sacrifice someone, so it's easy to sacrifice Szoboszlai. No, I'm not agreeing with this.
I'm not sacrificing anyone. I'm happy with the win, brother.
I know you're happy with the win. I'm just saying you're blaming him for the wrong thing.
There's something that none of you mentioned, and like Terry as well, like with the individual players, they all just need a bit of time to gel. That's all. Like, no, like these are all new players. They need time to get used to each other. Like a couple of times as well, you can see like Mo playing a pass to Ekitike, but Ekitike make a run in a different direction, etc. So they just need to get used to each other. Like Mo and Wirtz as well in preseason combined really well, but wasn't really there today. So we'll see. But I'm not scapegoating anyone. I think most of the players had like a great game.
Listen, I think it's simple, man. Listen, it comes down to this. The lights were too bright for him. Let's just put this on the screen. The lights were too bright on his Anfield debut. It was him. It was Kirkes, and as I said, they just say it for what it is, bro. They just shit the bed. That's all. They shit the bed.
We'll see if the lights are too bright.
Someone did a good debut as Ekitike, and someone did a good debut as Wirtz. Am I writing him off? No, it just was a bad game, bro. He didn't look good. I'm not gonna lie. He looked like KDH playing out there. He looked like Andres Pereira, but it's okay. I mean, he still has a chance to redeem himself. He'll do a little bit more than what he did. Lucky for him today, some other people stepped up, but it was just a bad debut. Him and Kirkes, I'm not gonna lie, Kirkes looked like he belonged in the championship today, you know. And by the way, we're not talking about Arne Slot. I think he made a major mistake today. Him taking out Frimpong.
I get into that, but not like Terry didn't ask the thing about the.
Oh, okay. I mean, if Terry doesn't mind, I'm just gonna bring it up. I think he made the bigger mistake today, taking out Frimpong and bringing in Endo, and then putting Endo in right back instead of Szoboszlai. I think that was the biggest mistake because that goal came in right away, and Endo was nowhere near that. And then that left Konate exposed, another guy that we need to talk about. But
yeah, well, no, we are going to get onto the defense in a minute because the defensive element is what's getting a lot of attention, and the viewers want to go into that. Lou, what did you make of Wirtz tonight? Because again, he didn't win a lot of his duels, but he worked hard. That's what I was focused. Again, what stood out to me was again he's going to lose the ball a lot, like Bruno Fernandes does, like Trent did, like KDB did. Highly creative players lose the ball a lot because they tried things. It didn't quite come off, but he persevered and he worked hard. Do you think it's far too soon to be writing him off? We see a lot of that in the chat right now.
I mean, I'm not writing him off. I just think
I know you're not. I just I didn't say yes.
You want to meet someone else? Sorry,
I was talking to Lou.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were asking me.
Apologies.
Apologies. I didn't hear
it. I don't know if we've ever spoken about how I feel about Bruno, Terry. I know you're quite a fan. I'm absolutely not because he drives me mental, losing the ball, trying things all the time. So I'm going to get past that topic because this is not a United show, and I'm not going to judge Wirtz on your opinion on Bruno. But no, I think hard work can be underrated. I do think you have to try things, particularly in that position. So I don't think you can be too harsh. But I do think there has to be a limit where there is like some sort of discipline where there's like, you know, but I think one game in is far too soon. I think one game in, like you're still warming up. It depends when you come in the window. It depends what kind of team you're coming from. You're positioned, you know, in each position it's going to be different because you're interacting differently with the rest of the team. I think it's far too soon. Now, if this was to go on and be consistent for the next maybe 3 matches, I'd be going, okay, that's a really not good start. But I think it's too soon at the minute. And I think, you know, there's that saying about hard work, you know, basically your hard work pays off. Like if you're not working hard, you're not going to get anything. If you work hard, you know, a lot of the time, if you have the talent, it's going to follow. So I think it's too soon, but I don't think he was massively impressive today. But again, I don't particularly like that style of player when you're using Bruno as an example, because it drives me up the balls. Keep the ball. You can't do anything if you don't have the ball.
But just very quickly, well, this is where I think we agree to disagree. The only reason I mentioned Bruno, but I also mentioned KDB and I mentioned Trent Alexander-Arnold. So
I skipped those because I like those.
Well, yeah, but again, but that the reason you don't like Bruno is because we're a struggling team and he's doing it in your side. It's like it's my noisy kid example again. When you're out with your children and they're being a little noisy, you think they've got megaphones. Other people's kids, you don't even hear them because you're not attentive to it. The point I'm making, and I stand on this with Bruno, yeah, there was times tonight where Wirtz tried things that if the pass comes off, they're through and in on goal. He's going to keep doing that. And I think that if you don't have enough players in your side that try to do that, you are going to foul to win football matches. You are going to foul to actually beat teams. There has to be, if you don't, then you end up playing like everybody moans about, very robotically. That is players either trying those passes or trying the skills and the tricks to beat a man. Those are the things that are entertaining. Those are the things that open up doors. And that's why I didn't look at Wirtz tonight and go, he's crap. I was happy things didn't come off, because I know how dangerous he is. But watching him, the hard work is there. The first touch is there. He played more balls into the final third than any player on both teams. It was just some of his final balls didn't quite come off. Is that going to elude him now for the rest of his Liverpool career? No, I don't personally see it. If he was controlling the ball and it was bouncing off of him, if he was not working hard, if he looked completely lost, if he was losing every physical battle, I'd go, the Premier League's going to eat this man alive. It wasn't that. It's just some passes didn't quite come off, but they were narrow. They were nearly did. So look, for me, I'm not reading too much into this at all. I think he's going to be a superstar for Liverpool. And I just think, but what he is going to get because of his price tag, every game is going to be scrutinized to the nth degree. And that's the nature of the beast when it comes to football, from my point of view and perspective. Brandon, thank you for joining us on the show, my friend. I appreciate that a lot. I want to get on to, we're going to speak about the handball, but I want to move on to the defensive issues. And I'm going to go to Husam first on this because, actually, no, I'm going to go to Kojo first on this because this is something Kojo spoke quite a lot about during pre-season. Is this because it's too many new players at once? Is this a system issue? Will this get better or not? Because they're the conversations that are going on tonight. Because all evening, just like the Crystal Palace game, just like the AC Milan game in pre-season, that was a great indicator, Liverpool are susceptible to those counter-attacks. What do you think the issue is with that kind of defensive synchronization?
Look, man, I was talking about Virgil van Dizzy, but I'm going to leave off him because actually he had a good game today. So it wasn't his fault. What I saw for Liverpool, actually, I'll go with a system situation, right? And it's not actually the defense; it's actually the midfield. So I was saying in the chat that the midfield hasn't got the I don't want to say the legs, but the midfield is light. You've got McAllister, and when I say midfield, that central position, you've got McAllister, you've got Szoboszlai, and you've got Wirtz, right? And if I'm somebody that's got a bit more of a presence, right, I'm going to bully them three. Now, of course, I'm not, because I'm not great footballer like that. But you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about bullying these three because you're not going to physically outpace me, and you're not going to move me off the ball. And I thought to myself, these three also don't have a defensive mindset enough in order to give the protection to the back. And actually, the Frimpong and Kerkez actually didn't have necessarily the best of games either. Like, Frimpong is a great going forward. He's another Trent at back. They just got a faster Trent. That's it. It's a faster Trent without the pass. And on the left-hand side of Kerkez looked like he was still playing for Bournemouth. So maybe it might take a little bit of time to get back up to speed with how Liverpool are playing. But the way that Bournemouth actually attacked, the wings were actually all game long. The wings were where they were actually destroying them. So I don't think if they had left on Frimpong at the right back, left Kerkez at left back, they wouldn't have scored. They would have still scored them because that's actually where all the danger was coming from. Liverpool's systematic defense is that it's a mindset thing, right? There's no aggression in that place. So unless Liverpool are going to say to themselves, we're going to hold on to the ball and we're going to have absolute possession in this whole entire game, like we're playing like we're Barcelona, which Liverpool are capable of doing, by the way, right? And holding on to all possession, then you can have Wirtz, Szoboszlai, and McAllister playing in midfield because by all means, you're not going to be you're not trying to get into a warring and a fight with the rest of the team. You're trying to hold on to possession and play a possession-based game. But when you're starting to play a game with, like, you're having transitions and the team can actually attack you, at that point, baby girl. Like they were bombing them on those wings, and that's where they're going to find issues. It's a team mentality thing. Remember I said to you last time, Terry, that sometimes it's not just about having the personnel. It's actually a mindset thing. And if they're actually defensively minded, it comes about that. Even we saw with Barcelona, Iniesta, Xavi, and at one point we had Busquets, but even before Busquets, that midfield was kind of light. If you look at those three midfielders, they're very light. You know what I'm saying to you? But the fact of the matter is their mindset is we get the ball and then we tarry together. And when someone loses it, we're on them as a team. I didn't really see that with Liverpool as much. And I think that's where they need to get the balance right. That as soon as they lose it, boom, we are all on the mindset that we're going to get that ball. So I think it's more of a mindset thing rather than actually being, if they get Gahey, they can get Gahey with the same thing. I promise you, they can get Gahey in there, it will be the same thing. It's a system thing with a mindset thing.
You're an Arsenal fan, right?
Chelsea.
I'm a Chelsea boy.
You could tell where the horrible opinions come from.
You know what's funny?
Frimpong didn't even have a bad game today. We literally conceded twice down that side when Frimpong came off. I wonder what game you were watching. I can give you my glasses, maybe you need a different pair. But the conceding of the goals was all on slot for me today, because the substitution playing Endo right back is the reason why we conceded the goal. He just couldn't handle Brooks' space. That's why we got attacked 5 times down that side. Endo's a very good midfielder, like in DM, but on that playing like right back, bro, like he was just never gonna survive over there. He doesn't have the pace, he doesn't have the power, he doesn't have the agility, he doesn't have the athleticism. If he wanted to play a midfielder and right back, I thought Szoboszlai should have been a right back, because at least he's athletic. Endo got absolutely destroyed down that side. Frimpong actually defended well all game long for me. He had a very good defensive performance. I don't think there was any moment where it's like, oh shit, Frimpong done this wrong. Like, I thought Frimpong had a good game. Kerkez was the one for me that I was a little bit disappointed in, because he was the one kind of giving fouls away, maybe wasn't as concentrated. But Frimpong had a good game for me. And actually, when he came off, we missed that pace down that side, and he performed really well from a defensive perspective. Also, Virgil van Disney, first ever Dutch captain to win a Premier League, first one in Premier League history. Been here for 7 years at the highest level, was 1 vote away from beating Lionel Messi, the greatest player of all time, to a Ballon d'Or. So Virgil van Disney is just childish banter. He's the best centre-back in the world right now. And he's 34. He's in his prime years. So I don't expect him to be like he was when he was 28. But he's still 80% Virgil van Dijk is still better than 99.999% of centre-backs in the world. The defensive thing today had nothing to do with midfield. They had nothing to do with like how open we were or anything like that. Liverpool always play open, beautiful football, you know. So that's our style. And that's why we suffered when Frimpong and Kerkez came off in terms of pace and power, because you need that in the Premier League, whether you like it or not. The Premier League does have athleticism, it does have pace and power. It's not just all technique. You need pace and power as well. And when Frimpong came off, Endo wasn't even like the second goal that we conceded. Joe Gomez wasn't even in the frame of the goal. Like, he wasn't even on like the whole frame, like half the whole pitch. He wasn't even in the frame. And the same thing for the first goal as well. Like, Endo absolutely got cooked by Brooks from in behind. He couldn't catch him. He could have ran for another 20 minutes. He never caught him. And then we conceded a goal. So for me, I don't think it was an individual error. I think it was a selection error. Because had we just put Szoboszlai right back, if we insisted on playing a midfielder and right back, Szoboszlai at least has a bit of athleticism. So he could have covered that space for me. But he couldn't cover that space. And we conceded those goals. But those mistakes won't even happen like when Bradley's back, as an example, because Bradley has a lot of pace and power as well, and he's technically good too, so he will be able to cover, like, because, you know, like with Arne Slot, even when he used to bring off Trent, like in games to rest him or whatever, he used to bring on Connor Bradley. I think with Bradley being out, it's a little bit techy, but I hope we never try this Endo at right back experiment. I'm not scapegoating. I like Endo. I want Endo to stay, but he's just not a right back. Like, you can't take the slowest midfielder, play him right back, and expect that he won't get cooked. So that decision for me was a bad decision. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a like systematic thing. I think it was just personnel.
Wait, can I just say something, Terry? Mm-hmm. So the key thing was, right, Bournemouth were always attacking you on the wings, regardless whether Kerkez or Frimpong were playing. You were always getting exposed on the wings. That's where they were hitting you. It's not about conceding, because sometimes it takes a bit of time. Same way you didn't score 4 goals into the end, right? So sometimes it takes a bit of time. So what actually ended up happening was, first and foremost, you could have put Szoboszlai there. You could have put Conor Bradley there. It didn't matter. The ball was actually over the top and it curved between the right centre back and your right back. Right? It don't matter who was in there.
It was over the top.
It was timed beautifully. It wasn't about pace. See, what ends up happening is people think about pace, and don't realize football's not about pace. It's not only about pace. It's about IQ. It's about positioning. So when you are playing, this should have been what Slot should have been saying. If I'm switching the right back and left back and they're not as quick, our line can't be as high as that. Do you know what I'm saying to you? We have to set a little bit more back because we have to compensate for the fact that our defenders are not that quick. So that's the first thing. And the second goal had nothing to do with pace again. You got burnt out and turned into a dancer with Konate. That was nothing to do with pace. It don't matter how fast anybody was recovering. It's actually about systematic how you defend. Because in what ended up happening,
there were 3 players on that side. What any defender in the world could have done. Like on Konate's side, first of all, you just said he played a pass in between the centre back and the right back. I agree. How does a right back recover in that scenario? Right backs that have pace would recover better. That's why when we had Frimpong and Kerkez, we did not concede a goal. It's not because Bournemouth had needed time to build up. Bournemouth were playing well all the way throughout the game, but Kerkez, and in my opinion, Kerkez was a bit shaky, but Frimpong defended well. Now, when Frimpong and Kerkez came off and we lost the pace and power on the right back and the left back, Bournemouth were able to find those spaces. Had Frimpong been here, he had enough pace to come back and cover. So the problem is there was no cover. And for the second goal, when Salah played the pass to Soboslai and Bournemouth counterattacked us, there were literally 3 players down Konate's side. There are 3 attackers over there. Konate cannot cut himself into 3 and go like we're gonna defend each person. Like it's literally impossible. So I think we just got counterattacked. And an attacking team, look, this type of goal is going to happen for Manchester City and for Liverpool specifically in the league. These 2 teams will concede these type of goals because we're very offensive minded. Liverpool's mentality is we're 2-0 up, let's go score the 3rd, let's go score the 4th. That's the way that we play football. That's why even when it was 2-2, I know you won't believe me, even if you go to my watch along, I literally said it would be so us to go 2-2 and then score a dramatic winner at the end. We always have that like that thought of like, let's keep going, score more goals. So for me, I think it's personnel definitely would have made a difference, because even if they played that pass into space, having recovery pace, we've seen it with Kyle Walker 100 million times, would have helped you to come back and defend the thing that you just spoke about, which is the pass between the centre back and the right back.
That's what happens when people speak. Okay, the reason why I say that is because first and foremost, IQ of a footballer is that pace is not what's going to get you in there. You would cut off the angle. That's what you do when you don't have pace. You cut off the angle. Endo is not a right back. So it's not even about him having pace. It's a personnel issue of having an actual right back who understands that if I don't have pace, I work on my positioning. So if that ball is coming over, I'm not going to cut you off by chasing directly after you. No, I cut off the angle. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
I said don't put Endo right back.
No, you said actually about the person having to recover with pace, because what ends up happening is we're playing FIFA and you act like you can just press an RT button and chase after somebody. That's not what happens. Our IQ footballers understand that when I'm not as fast as you, I'm going to cover you by cutting off the angle. And the second goal, as you actually agreed with me, which is that it doesn't matter who it was. It's just it's an issue of systematic. How do we defend when we're getting attacked? Because Konate was left there, and of course it was Konate that was doing a spin around, but actually it was about 3 or 4 other players, or should I say 2 or 3 other players who were around actually did not defend as a team. They left it to Konate, and Konate's doing this, and he's not sure where to go, and he's left alone. So again, it's a team effort, which is why I said earlier on, when we're defending, it's a team mindset that we are aggressive when we defend as a team. That's why I said if you're going to play like that, you have to play like Barcelona. That when we're tackling, we all go together, bro. You can't just have a run and think you're going to run by yourself. No, it's going to be Konate, it's going to be Van Dijk, it's going to be freaking whoever's up front. They're going to run back, and we're going to all defend as a team. That's all I'm saying. And I've said it from the beginning, that preseason.
You're agreeing with me. I feel like you just want to argue. You're saying the same stuff I'm saying. I'll be honest with you.
Actually, I said it first, which means you agree with me. But anyway, so the defense is important.
No, I don't agree with you, because you said Frimpong was just like a quick Trent. He wasn't, because he defended really well, which is why we didn't concede when he was there, even though Brooks was on the pitch. I thought Kerkez was the one that didn't have as much as a good game. So I disagree on the Frimpong and the part thing Van Disney.
You should have conceded, but you should have conceded when he was on the pitch. The first big chance they had started on the left, which is Frimpong's side, and the cross came. The only difference between the first chance Semenyo had and his first goal is that Kerkez, although he had a bad game, was able to get closer because he's quicker than Robbo to Semenyo, and I think he just did enough to put him off. Otherwise, he would have put you 1-0 up. I'm going to go to Brendan and Lou on this as well. Brandon, you're obviously, thank you for coming on the show. You're part of the chasing pack against Liverpool. You want to take their crown away from them. Is their defending something that gives you hope?
I think it's too early to say that. Because it's only the first game of the season. What I will say is tonight's game was very enjoyable. It's probably one of the most enjoyable games that I've watched in the Premier League in a long time, purely and simply because both teams were just going at each other. I think from the defensive standpoint, I think I see where both of you guys are coming from. I agree with both of you in certain aspects. I disagree with Husam about the midfield not being an issue, though. I think when you've got the likes of Szoboszlai, Wirtz, and McAllister, none of them are really defensive minded. I do think they miss Gravenberch, because I think at least with Gravenberch, he has got that defensive mindset about him. He probably will sit in a little bit more rather than burst forward all the time. Maybe he'll cover his right back a little bit. And I also think as well that Konate was a big issue for Liverpool tonight. And I don't know whether that's because he's just simply not fit or whether his mind's in a different place. Obviously, we know that he's, sort of, let's talk about him maybe running his contract down, etc. But yeah, his positional sense tonight, and he's normally pretty good at that. The amount of times that I see last season when Konate and Van Dijk were centre-back partners and, talking about the right back again, Konate would normally come across and sweep up for the right back. Do you know what I mean? So, regardless of who that was, I do think Arne Slot made, like these guys were talking about, a bit of a poor decision in placing Endo at right back and not Szoboszlai. But I think you're going to see a lot of this from Liverpool this season. I think Liverpool this season, they've got that front four, front five that are just attack. And I think you're going to see a lot of open games with Liverpool this season. I think you're going to see Liverpool trying to outscore teams, not necessarily worrying about how many goals they're conceding. Kirke's very good going forward normally, not so great defensively. Same for Frimpong. Liverpool are kind of set up, in my opinion, to just outscore teams. But yeah, definitely miss Gravenberch. Konate was a big issue. But apart from that, I think Liverpool will be fine this season. And I'll be honest with you, some of the intricate play between that front five, even though people are saying Wirtz didn't have the greatest of games, I mean, the energy that they showed in midfield, the energy coming from that midfield, McAllister, Wirtz, Szoboszlai, the amount of that's going to kill teams on its own. When you look at Arsenal, for example, and City, and the way that we play and how it's very systematic, robotic, Liverpool are like one touch, two touch, quick flowing attacks. That's going to hurt a lot of teams this season, and I'm worried about that. Ekitike looked really good, by the way, as well.
Do you know what's interesting when you say that? Defensively, I still think they'll sort that out. I think as Kirkes and Frimpong settle, I think when Gahey and Leone are in, the players will help it. Also, when Gravenberch's in the middle, I think they'll have more of a presence. I do agree. When you've got not a weak midfield, it's not weak defensively. None of the midfielders out there tonight for Liverpool are defensively minded. That doesn't help. But when it comes to the attack, it's so funny how people are looking at the eye test merchants are looking at the stats. Oh, he didn't win any duels. He didn't set up any big chances. He didn't score any goals. But if you actually have a good eye test and you watch Wirtz tonight, you can see that it's going to come. It wasn't bad in the sense of everything looked awful. It was just final balls. Even that shot he took, that just went wide. It was so he wasn't in the right position for it, but he was able to sort of just cheekily flick the ball. That almost crept in. I don't think people realize how good a technique that shot was.
Do you know the funny thing is, though, Tel? If that had have gone in, people would be talking about Wirtz completely different tonight because he would have scored.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's key. Lou, what do you make of the defensive elements? Do you think that Liverpool are going to get better in that area, or do you think, like Brandon, it could be a little bit of a chink in the armor for the campaign for Liverpool?
Yeah, I actually think it's made them fallible. Because they were the champions. They won. They strengthened in multiple areas. They had a really, really good transfer window. So when everyone's making their predictions for this Premier League season, a huge amount of people just went, well, they were already the winners and now they're even better. Surely they're just going to win again. So I think it's not necessarily they're just going to be terrible all season, but I think what it does is for the likes of the people that are chasing them, the likes of the Chelseas, of the Arsenals, of the Cities, it makes them fallible. it shows that there's something there to be got at. Whereas normally they're just such a well-oiled machine. Like last season, there was no chinks. There was nothing to get at. Whereas this is it's just an opportunity. Do you know what I mean? And it may be that they improve. It may be that they settle down. It's likely that that's what's going to happen. But we now know that that's something that can be got at. And if they don't settle quick enough, and you get at them quickly enough, and enough teams get at them in their first few games, that then it starts to build the pressure. It's something people are focusing on. It's what the pundits are looking at. It's what the fans are looking at. And if they haven't settled, and then that pressure starts building, it might not necessarily be through talent, but then it's the pressure, it's the stress. They've already not settled. That's not going to help. So I think, for me, I was very happy to see that there's something to get at. Do you know what I mean?
I totally agree. And look, forget that I'm a Man United fan for a moment. From a competitive point, I hope that each of the top four, that I think will all be in the title race for a period of time, I think they've all got flaws, and I hope they all stay, because I just think it will add a layer of jeopardy. I don't want one team to just be perfect and win most of their games while the others are while the others are falling away. I want a really competitive race. We have a few super chats here. O'Malley says, Bournemouth showed how competitive this league is going to be. Folks, forget this team was 5th place for large parts of last season. That was with missing 3 defenders from last year. I agree.
Just
and
real quick on Bournemouth as well. To lose the players that they've lost, and they haven't really signed that many like standout players either. There's nothing that they've really done that's major in this transfer window, and to still go to Anfield and perform like they have done, mad. I know they was good last season, but I weren't expecting them to be that good again tonight. I really weren't.
Yeah, no, I agree. But and the league is going to be very, very competitive. D here says, evening, Terry. We were missing Ryan Gravenberch. Yeah, you were. Absolutely. You were missing him. There's no doubt about that. This year says 5 new players in the first game is going to look shaky. There is that element too. Like, everyone wants to see their new players, and we've probably all had this happen multiple times. You get excited, your new players are in. This will probably happen on Sunday. We'll look at the team sheet. One of our new 3 players isn't going to be on the pitch, and Arsenal might have the same. We go, but sometimes it is about integration, and it's key. Nesh is watching. Nesh watching from South Africa. Big up yourself, brother. Watching down there in South Africa. A big night tomorrow for your nation with Duplessis fighting Hamzat Shemaev. Yeah, I nearly called him the nickname that people give him. Sorry, my apologies. I ain't upsetting that man. He's scary. Big up Terry and the panel. Liverpool's attack. Wow. And I think it's going to get better, and it's going to click into gear. It's going to be brilliant. Federico, what's a second season comeback? Who's expected that? Get the carbonara on is what on it. I can't read the first bit. I did my dyslexia alarm went off. I've got an alarm in my brain when I read certain words. My brain goes whoop, when there's certain words, and I can't read that. But yes, he was well done to him. Splashed 120 million on the German Yossi Benayoun. Buddy, Yossi Benayoun was good. I'm just going to put it out there. Yossi Benayoun was not a bad football player. Gravenberch was missed for the cover. Absolutely. Brooks had a firm, had Frim 2 or 3 times. Good recovery pace. I mean, look, Frimpong should have been booked in the second half when he got turned by Brooks. I mean, I'm not saying Frimpong had a bad game, but he got turned. They didn't give a lot of bookings out tonight. They didn't give a lot of bookings out for cynical fouls, which we were talking about in the group chat, which I thought was interesting. I just hope they're consistent.
Towards the end of the game, though, Terry started, because we were just after saying that in the group chat, he's not really giving out many yellows, and then he starts whipping them out, and I was like, oh, he's got bored of that. We lasted about 80 minutes, and he's got bored of it.
Maybe it's because they will do it late in the games, not early, and because they don't want to send people off. But maybe I'm an old man. I just look at it and go, no, if it's a cynical foul, you get them booked. That makes the game more fun now, because they can't just drag you down to the floor if you bypass them. I hate that people can get away with them. Especially if you imagine your first one comes in the 80th minute in your books, but someone else has done 3 of them earlier on in the game. I don't like how they do that. Chelsea fan is wrong. Up until Kirkes and Frimpong were taken off in the 60th minute, Bournemouth had 1 shot on target. The tide changed after the subs. I mean, did you see the chances in the first half they should have scored from?
That's the whole point. You have to watch the game, not just the stats.
Stefan here says, I think the goals Liverpool conceded were a lack of concentration. We need to be more guarded. Dom Husam is right.
He'd be pleased with that.
Yeah, he will be. Lovely intelligence, right? Cal here, who's a gunner, says, Kojo, you obviously didn't get the memo. Don't say bad things about Liverpool. Don't care about your logic. You're wrong. No explanation needed. Here's what Cal says here. And Bermuda Guna says, Sam hated MC for spending. Who's MC? Man City for spending. Liverpool doing the same. Okay. Listen, we're all hypocrites when it comes to that. We absolutely every single one of us behaves in that same way. Look, I want to thank each and every single person for tuning in. I can officially say this. This is the biggest Liverpool stream in the Football Terrace's history. 66,000 people have tuned in over the course of the last hour and 15 minutes. Some of that is people going and coming back and everything else. I want to thank our super chatters. I want to thank everyone who's hit the like button. We're back tomorrow, of course, covering the afternoon games in the Premier League. There'll be a done deal show in the morning as well. But I want to thank everyone who has been supporting the Football Terrace over the course of the summer, not just our new contributors and our new panelists, and there are more to come. We're changing things up a little bit, and as we promised, the match reactions, we're going to keep them more about the games and more to certain talking points, rather than last year they became a little bit of a free-for-all, which is what some of our other shows are like, and I just like feeling like all my shows will become the same. So be more topical on the game, more about points, plus brand new faces, brand new individuals. And if you want to come on and have your say, if you want to join these guys and be part of these panels and come on a regular basis, call in on the call-in shows or send us a message and we'll get you involved, because, you know, we want new people. We want new faces. Again, most channels now, everyone's got the same people on, same people talking on everyone's channels. And I'll be honest with you, I'm bored of it. So I want to thank, obviously, some of the old guard like Brandon, Staffy, Husam that were on tonight, but Kojo and Lou, absolutely fantastic to have some fresh faces, fresh opinions, and fresh outlooks on the channel. This is going to redirect you to Husam's channel. So, guys, go over there and support him in his endeavors over there. We'll see you in the morning. Take care. Goodbye. Let me check that's actually going to redirect. I sometimes say that and then it isn't done. It is. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.